I don't know why. Oh dear. We streamed earlier today, and it was fine.
We did. Yes.
But Twitch has decided, in its infinite wisdom, that this is not going to happen. Oh, now it's updated. Now it's working.
Ah.
Interesting. Okay, we've
Yep, we're live.
we're live. Great. So, welcome to another launch from the Go for Launch team. This time we will be launching the launch vehicle version of the Blue Sky 2A that you saw last time. It is essentially identical with the exception of guidance on the first stage and the second stage, and a much lighter payload, the 20-inch X-ray detector satellite payload with another few kilograms of scientific instruments and antennas. It looks like a nice clear day at the Cape today. And so without any further ado, I'll pass you over to the flight director. Checking stations.
Booster is go.
Okay.
Range safeties go.
Trajectories go.
Waiting for a bit more confirmation. Okay. And flight direction is go. So, with range clear, we'll initiate the countdown. Booster, you're set to initiate the program?
Yep.
Okay, initiate at T-2. We are at T-10,
Will count.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Main engine start. 1, 0, liftoff. We have liftoff on the Blue Sky 2A carrying Obo 1, our first satellite. Stabilized and roll. Acquired launch azimuth. Pitch program is initiated. It will follow the surface prograde vector during the gravity turn.
First stage propulsion nominal. Max Q 75 kPa.
So a fairly high maximum dynamic pressure. That's almost a full atmosphere, like about 3/4 of an atmosphere of dynamic pressure. That's because the lower stage is quite overpowered in terms of thrust for what we're doing. That's
10
because
seconds
the
go.
A4 engine has a very short rated burn time. So to get the delta V we need out of it, it has to be quite highly powered. It does, however, lead to lowered gravity losses.
Miko. Second stage ignition.
Looks like we've had a good separation event. The booster is now trailing behind us. We're on the second stage. The small ullage motors on the second stage fired during separation to keep the propellants down at the bottom of the tank so that the AJ-10 could light successfully. The second stage is powered by an AJ-1037 engine. In real life, it was used in the second stage of the Vanguard launch vehicle.
Skirt set.
And you just saw the aft skirt of the stage separate that held its fins and shrouded the RCS thrusters in the lower atmosphere. Now that we're in the high atmosphere, above 70 kilometers, we're now high enough that we don't need any kind of aerodynamic shielding, and we want the RCS thrusters free to control roll that way rather than trying to stabilize and roll by using fins. So soon we're going to be coming up on the altitude for fairing separation, and then you'll be able to see the payload and the kick stage. And there we go, fairing
complex.
separation. So you can see the very small, very light satellite payload atop the kick stage. The kick stage is powered by an XASR-1 sustainer engine. It's what was used on early Aerobee sounding rockets for the Navy. And it will provide the final 4.5 kilometers per second delta V required to reach orbital velocity. We're currently aiming...
33 kilometers per second.
We're currently aiming for an apogee of about 300 kilometers. We're hoping to insert into about a 3,000 kilometer by 300 kilometer orbit. And we're nearing the end of the second stage burn now.
Seek out.
Okay, it looks like we had nominal performance from the second stage's AJ-10 engine, which means we're on track for an orbital insertion. It's our projected apogee.
293 kilometers.
Okay, so it looks like we're just shy of our desired 300 kilometer apogee, but that's fine. If we can manage to reach a 3,000 kilometer final apogee, the 296 kilometer apogee becoming our perigee, that means that we'll have probably a good month or so in orbit with this satellite. Our inclination is slightly higher than our launch site's latitude was. Launch site's latitude is 28.61 degrees. We're currently in a 28.657 degree inclination arc. We have another minute and a half or so before we start pitching down to the horizon to align for kickfire. So you can see our nice gentle arc. And we have acquisition of signal from the Bermuda tracking station, which means that even if we go over the horizon from the Cape or Wallops, we'll still have a good link to the satellite. How long until apogee?
78 seconds.
Okay, so in about 15 seconds, the stage will start its programmed pitch down to align with the horizon prior to kick stage ignition. And pitch down has begun.
Pitching horizontal.
Good alignment. Okay, so at 40 seconds to apogee.
We have 3 seconds beyond orbital.
Okay. And we had successful spin up.
We have light.
And it looks like there was a good light on the kick stage.
Ascent tracking looks good.
So far, so good on the engine burn.
Yep. Yeah, we should reach orbit 3 seconds before burnout.
Excellent.
Orbit.
And it looks like we've achieved orbit and
Catch it.
detached the kick stage, activated the antennas. With a final orbit of 3018 kilometers? Sorry?
3018 by 291.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. In a period just shy of 2 hours. With final inclination 28.664 degrees. So that looks like a quite successful launch. So a big round of applause for everybody for good work. And we put our first satellite in orbit. Great, so now let's do it again. Given that we have excess delta V on that launch vehicle, we can attempt to put the satellite in a somewhat higher inclined orbit. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now the azimuth limits of the Cape are 35 degrees to the north and 120 degrees to the south. Let's also go ahead and accept one of these small contracts because we know we're going to reach that. And we're not going to hit that high in apogee in this orbit. Given that that was successful, we can go ahead and call this Obo 2. Okay, we're back on the pad with Obo 2. Assuming everything goes as it should, we'll end up in about a 56-degree orbit with a somewhat lower apogee and a vaguely lower perigee. So let's go ahead and do station check. Booster. Booster, what's your status?
Setting up now. Sorry,
Okay.
I had momentary audio dropout.
Trajectory,
Trajectory is go.
range.
Ranges go.
Okay.
Boosters go.
Okay, we'll begin from 10 again. So T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, engine sequence start, 1, 0. Liftoff. And we have liftoff on Obo 2. Pitch program beginning. We're flying on a 35-degree launch azimuth. Telemetry confirms we have a heading of 35 degrees. Past a cloud layer. Looks like it's a fairly cloudy
heading
day.
of 35 degrees.
Fairly cloudy day at the Cape today. We're liable
Max
to hit
Q.
a slightly
Stage
higher.
1 propulsion nominal.
What was the maximum dynamic pressure? You recall?
75 kPa again.
Okay. Okay, I expected a slightly higher maximum dynamic pressure than last time simply because of a lower contribution of orbital velocity on this launch azimuth, but that's fine. Okay, it looks like most of the
Nico.
Looks like we had
Apogee under kilometers.
Looks like we had good cutout separation.
Altitude 50 clicks. Skirt set.
Mach 6.
Apogee under the 40 kilometers.
Altitude 80 clicks. Vertical speed 1100.
We've got a bit
Altitude
of
100 clicks.
right drift expected. Fairing set. Mach 8.
Apogee 200 kilometers.
Stage 2 propulsion remains nominal.
As can be seen, we're coming much closer to tracking the U.S. eastern seaboard on this launch with the 35-degree heading.
20 seconds.
Concur.
Seek out.
Seco, did we get a complete burn?
Looks good, yes.
Good. That AJ.
Apogee 282.
Yep. That checks out. Looks like we actually did have a good burn with that AJ-10. You always gotta wonder. So the coast time should be slightly shorter than on the last mission. Speed is dropped below 3,400 meters per second surface. We're still at 3,600 inertial.
ETA to apogee 2 minutes.
2 minutes, so about a minute until stage pitch down. Looks like our inclination is going to be a little under 56 degrees. Current inclination 55.593 degrees. Vertical speed continues dropping, passing 600 meters per second. .600 kilometers downrange and rising. 620.
Stage 2 pitching horizontal.
Looks like we have good alignment.
Delta T of 3 seconds.
Came right to 43 degrees to align with inertial velocity vector. Spin up. Separation. Good light.
Stage 3 propulsion nominal. Delta T looks like being 2.5 seconds.
Okay.
So slightly
Apologies for the
narrower
camera
margin.
spin.
Looks like we were slightly off horizontal. We're going to be climbing at about 80 meters per second at burnout.
Yep.
5 seconds to burnout. Orbit achieved. Burnout.
Okay. Great. And we have a final apogee of 2261 kilometers, which is fine. That is liable to last in orbit a little less than the other, but not that much less. Final inclination of 55.464 degrees. Spin is continuing. Period of 1 hour 50 minutes. Inertial velocity at perigee of about 8230 meters per second. We're now at 8215 and dropping. So that was another successful launch. Let's look at the trajectory. See that it's fairly closely tracking the U.S. eastern seaboard on the way up. It will pass up over through Central Europe, through Iran, Iraq, and then passing down quite low below Australia on the far side. So with this orbit, it's possible we might get just over the poles, either in Canada or Russia. However, that's somewhat unlikely. So with that success, we can head on back. And that leaves us the question of what to do with the final round of this. Let me go to the tracking station and examine our handiwork. So there are 2 current satellites. So that leaves the question of what inclination and altitude range to put our final satellite in. What we could try to do is we could try to launch one to an even higher perigee to achieve a more circular orbit.
Concur. That's what I was also going to suggest.
Okay.
I think we had 3 seconds and we were doing about 12 Gs, so that's about 360 meters per second, very roughly.
Yeah.
Don't really know how to translate that into
That
perigee.
basically means we can have up to about 300 meters per second more gravity losses. Which means that we can try for a 500 or 600 kilometer orbit, which requires assessing what pitch changes to make. So I think we'll try initial pitch down to 83 instead of 78, and we'll see how that works. Finally, let's see if there are any options for us here. Unlikely. 100 kilometers. We will certainly reach that no matter what happens.
We hope.
Well, yes. It's possible we could have a first stage failure. Now, yes, and a first stage failure would be quite bad because our guidance program doesn't actually stage on thrust cutout. It stages on first stage burn completion. But, of course, you could manually stage.
Yes, indeed.
And then it will act properly, I believe. You might have to manually light the AJ-10 as well. All right, and for this we will also want to change our launch azimuth back to 90. you called the 350 spare from the last flight, right? Not the first flight.
No, that was based on the first flight.
Oh, okay. Then we're
I-
good. Okay. This may not have a significantly higher. Um,
We'll just have to see, won't we?
yes, because gravity losses will mount quite severely during coast. Okay.
Yeah.
Guidance is go. Booster.
Go.
Uh,
Meanwhile, trajectory.
Trajectory is go.
Range.
Ranges go.
Okay.
Something's wiggling the throttle. Not that it should matter, but could if it hits 0.
Okay. Has that more or less fixed it?
Yeah, looks good now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going that. Booster Scout.
Okay. T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and main engine start. 1, 0, liftoff. Roll program initiated. Pitching over less than last time. And let's see how it works. Okay, we've got a mild cloud layer and some significant haze at the horizon. To the east, you can see the sun gleaming on the ocean. We should hit a fairly lower max Q than on the last launch.
Max Q, 65 kPa.
Good.
First stage propulsion remains nominal. Altitude 20 kilometers. $10 to MECO.
Past Mach 4, pitch is still 62.5 degrees. We're going to go to a fairly high apogee this time, that's for sure.
MECO. We have a good burn after first stage.
Good light.
Skirt set.
Pitch is still 58.
Apogee 200 kilometers.
Altitude 100 clicks.
Apogee 300 kilometers.
Altitude 150 clicks. Stage 2 propulsion remains nominal.
Pitch still above 45 degrees, currently at 50 degrees.
Apogee 400 kilometers.
Altitude 200 clicks. 15 seconds to Seco.
Apogee 500 kilometers.
This is going to be dicey.
Seco.
Apogee 595 kilometers. Nearly 596.
What's the delta V of the final stage?
Including the ullage, which is estimated, 4759.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's looking a bit close. We're going to be under 7,000 final horizontal speed.
Yeah, I have my doubts. And circular at 600 by 600 is probably over that, isn't it? Um, yeah, burning the RCS off won't gain us much. It's only a few kilograms at most. Yeah, I think we're going to come up just short, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm estimating something like 7150 meters per second burnout velocity
Altitude
inertial.
500 clicks. Downrange
Assuming
distance 480 clicks.
assuming about 400 rotational, and that will be down about 2 kilometers per second relative surface.
Okay, well, 7150 might be enough. It's going to be close.
Yep. It will be an object lesson in the importance of gravity losses if we end up in a 600 by 150 orbit. Where we could have been in a 150 by goodness only knows. 6 probably? 5? 6. I'd say 6.
Yeah, probably 6. Although, on the other hand, if we tried to launch that flat, we might just
We'd burn up.
catch fire.
Yeah. No, we'd have to accept steer. We'd probably have to do a fairly aggressive gravity turn on the first stage and accept some steering losses during pitch down in the second stage to pitch under the velocity vector. Probably not jettison the boat tail until about 80 kilometers because we'd need the aerodynamic stabilization being off prograde.
Yeah.
Be an interesting challenge.
I'll have a fresh prediction for you when there we go. We're horizontal, and
Okay, our existing velocity in the rotating frame is higher than I predicted, which means we might just be able to pull this off. We'll see.
ascent guidance says no. Says we won't do it.
Okay. Spin up. Separation and ignition. Ascent guidance, however, does not take the decoupler on the satellite into account.
This is true.
That will give us
That's
another 10 or 15
tiny
meters per
extra.
second, which is probably, again, not enough, but we'll see.
Yes. Console says 7250 in orbital frame at burnout.
Okay. What's the delta V?
2500 remaining.
Okay. That checks.
1000.
And minus 430 kilometers. Just shy. Probably about 80 meters per second, I would estimate. Shy of what we needed. Well, we've bookended the capabilities of this launch vehicle fairly well. So it cannot achieve 600 by 600 due to the supremely high gravity losses we suffered coasting.
Charge console says 4% short on velocity.
Yeah.
And so that is a 16th of 72.5. Where's my... No, not a 16th. Sorry. Okay, that suggests 300 meters per second shorter circularization.
Oh, circularization, certainly. I was thinking of just a 150 perigee.
Ah. Yeah, I don't have numbers for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, that was a guidance failure for which I take full responsibility. But it was nonetheless interesting seeing that we can't, in fact, manage a 600 by 600 orbit, and just what a massive difference that coast period and therefore the gravity losses we incurred have done to this launch profile. So with that, we might as well arrange safety, have you destroy it before it re-enters and slags on something.
Initiating the abort sequence.
And there it goes.
LOS.
LOS. Yep. Well, I still have signal, oddly enough, but that's fine. Well, 2 successes and a successful test of new guidance
Successful
parameter.
failure.
Yes. Yes. Well, we can't claim as much of a successful failure as Apollo 13 was a successful failure, because that is sort of the textbook successful failure. But it was nonetheless a learning experience for all, and we completed the 100-kilometer sounding rocket contract. So that nonetheless stood us in good stead. So with that, I think it's probably best we end things. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you catch us again next week as we launch some more missions. Thanks as always to the great Go for Launch team. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.